In a kingdom where spring never seemed to fade, there stood a vast garden unlike any other. It stretched across hills and valleys, filled with roses of every color: soft pink, deep crimson, pure white, and golden hues that shimmered. The air was always sweet with their fragrance, and people came from distant lands just to witness its beauty. At the heart of this garden lived a princess named Rosalie. From the moment she was born, a single rose bloomed in her cradle, more radiant than any flower ever seen. The royal seers believed it was a sign, a blessing that tied her life to the garden itself. As she grew, it became clear that the roses responded to her presence. Wherever she walked, buds would open, petals would soften, and the entire garden seemed to breathe with her. She was called the Princess of the Rose, but every blessing carries a hidden truth. When a flower was cut, she felt a faint sting in her chest. When a rose withered, she felt a quiet sadness. And when storms damaged the garden, her body weakened as if she too had been struck. The roses were not just part of her world. They were part of her. To protect her, the king ordered the garden to be guarded day and night. No one was allowed to touch the roses. Visitors could only admire them from a distance. The garden became not just a place of beauty, but a place of silence. And Rosalie, though surrounded by life, began to feel alone. They see a crown and a legacy, but they never truly see me. The royal garden is a masterpiece, yet it feels like a beautiful prison. Every bloom has its thorns, and every gilded cage its captive. As the sun dipped low, I sought the quiet corners where the guards don't look. There, I found someone tending to what the world had forgotten. He looked up, and for the first time, there was no fear in those eyes. I hesitated, feeling the weight of the princess' robe finally start to slip away. He whispered, "I didn't think anyone was allowed here." "They're not," I replied, finally feeling seen for who I truly am. In the fading light, I found the connection I had been longing for. He smiled faintly, not in defiance, but in understanding. Then I suppose I should leave, but he didn't move right away. Instead, he looked back at the rose he had been tending. "It was dying," he said. "I thought maybe it just needed a little care." Rosalie stepped closer, drawn not to him alone, but to the way he looked at the flower, not as something precious because it was rare, but because it was alive. "Most people don't notice the ones that are fading," she said. "They should," he replied. "Those are the ones that need the most love." Something inside her shifted. They spoke for a long time that evening, about simple things about the garden, about life beyond the palace, about the way beauty is often misunderstood. He did not ask about her title. He did not praise her gift. He spoke to her as if she were just a girl walking among flowers, and for the first time, she felt like one. In the days that followed, they met again and again, always in quiet corners of the garden. His name was Elias, a gardener's son who had grown up learning how to care for plants, not admire them from a distance. He showed her things she had never seen before, not grand miracles, but small truths. How a rose bends before it blooms, how thorns protect what is soft, how even the most beautiful flower must one day fade. Rosalie listened, her heart slowly opening in a way it never had. But happiness, when it grows quietly, often meets its greatest test. In the heart of the kingdom, the ancient rose began to fade, its magic slipping away. Princess Rosalie felt every petal fall, her own strength bound to its wilting life. The wisest healers searched for a cure, but their magic was powerless against the curse. Only Elias saw the true burden she carried in her eyes. "I have lived for the rose," she whispered, "but I am afraid to die with it." "You have carried this destiny alone for too long," he replied gently. For the first time, she realized she had never known true freedom. As night fell, Rosalie walked toward the center of the garden for the final time. Her hands trembled as she reached for the sharp, dying stem. In a flash of golden light, the ancient bond shattered like glass. The weight of 1,000 years lifted from her shoulders. Under the vast, starry sky, Rosalie was finally free. Not like a sharp wound, but like losing something that had always been part of her. The garden fell still. The roses stopped responding. The magic that once filled the air faded into quiet silence. And then, the ancient rose crumbled. For a moment, everything seemed lost. But Rosalie remained standing, weak, trembling, but alive. The connection was gone, but so was the burden. In the days that followed, the garden slowly began to change. Without magic, it no longer bloomed endlessly. Seasons touched it for the first time. Some roses faded, others grew stronger. Life became natural, not controlled. And Rosalie became free. She was no longer the princess of the rose because of magic. She was simply herself. Elias stayed by her side, not because she was special, but because he had always seen her that way. Together, they cared for the garden not as something perfect, but as something real. And in that imperfection, they found something far more beautiful than endless bloom. They found truth, because in the end, the story of the Princess of the Rose was never about a girl who could control flowers. It was about learning that true beauty is not in holding on forever, but in letting life grow and begin again just as it was meant to.